Hari Om to all.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om. I am glad that I am audible to all. Shall we begin then? Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om to one and all.
Hari Om, sir.
Life and Vedanta. We know about life in the way we know. About Vedanta, the Shastra, the masters are explaining to us. Why should we know Vedanta? To add one more flair to our list of knowledges, another feather in our cap. There could be that reason also. But we have made it amply clear that all those who are here are not interested in just educational, or what you can say as a technical knowledge of something more, an intellectual reach to know something and then I know this, done that, been there. No, all of you are in a search of the truth. Somebody asked me, what is truth? Shastra says truth is that which cannot be denied. Truth is that which cannot be falsified, that ever remains the same in any period of time. It doesn't change. It is permanent. We also heard that the world is impermanent. Everything in the world is impermanent, including this body, our relationships, everything that is there. And also that when we say the world, we should not only limit it to our world, to the end of the world. And when we say world, we should not only think, world means all those things. No, even this, our own self should be the part of this. This particular kind of thinking of distinguishing between the world, which is temporary, including us, and that which is permanent, which only right now Shastra is indicating to us. This distinguishing between these two is called Nitya-anitya vastu Viveka. the Viveka aspect which we have concluded last time, this is what it means. It doesn't mean that, oh, I like this, I don't like this. This is good, that is not good. This is right, that is wrong. No. That is on a daily basis we do between two anitya vastu, two impermanent. I'm sure none of you have any doubt about this. Yeah, the questions will take if you have any. What follows Viveka is called Viragya. We also call it Vairagya. Today's topic is Vairagya. Viragya. The definition of Viragya according to the scriptures, Shastra, is Iha swarga bhogeshu ekcha rahittayam, meaning the desire to enjoy the fruits of the results over here and hereafter. The desire. I'm studying. I'm trying to be a very good MBA. I'm trying to get the degree of MBA. Why? Why do you want to be an MBA? Oh, when I become an MBA in finance, I will get this job in this particular international company, and then sky is the limit. So why am I learning MBA? Not so that I can understand finance, of course, that is the point. But why? So that I can enjoy the result of it. Shastra says, Viraga means dispassion towards such kind of desires. The word raga is a very beautiful word. Raga means, it comes from the root ranj. Ranj means to love, to like, to be attached. We, as back in India, we have the names like Ranjana, Ranjini. And then we all know that Manoranjan has to be there. What is Manoranjan? Entertainment. Why? Because you enjoy. There is a pleasure in that. That is Raga. Viraga, opposite of it. Not having the desire to enjoy those is Viraga. Are you saying that the books are saying not to enjoy life? Not to have pleasures? Not to have the small happinesses that we have? We have to be away from this? If it is so, sir, let me tell you right now, I am not interested in this kind of permanency. Because, sir, you had only told us, we want permanent, and we want permanent which is happy. Correct? We all agree to this. Yes, that is what Shastra is saying. That is what Shastra is pointing out to. It is just telling us the specific meaning of things. One of the other reasons why we have had this course is to remove the misinterpretation of terms, of words that we use in our life. Therefore, Shastra is taking that little more time to express itself what the word means. So when we say dispassion, what does it actually mean? Gautam Buddha. Who doesn't know the Buddha? All of us know who Gautam Buddha was, or rather is. But before he became Gautam Buddha, he was a prince of India. His name was Siddhartha. And like all princes, but he had even a little more to it. He had so much of luxury in his life, to that extent that his king had, his father, his king, had kept him away from all sadnesses of life, purposely. Because he's my son, he should not encounter any sadness in his life. So from childhood, from his birth onwards, he had never seen any suffering. When he became self-realized, he had left everything of his kingdom and he was completely at peace. At that time, his fame went all over the place, all over the world. In the same village, there was a small little house, and in that small house, a lady was crying, weeping, because her baby, her little child, had passed away. But she had so much of attachment to the child that she wouldn't let the child's body, the dead body, to go away, to be put for burial or for cremation. She would hold it and cry and say, "My baby, my baby." So much pain that she wouldn't allow anybody to touch. To that extent that not only days, but not only weeks, month pass away. An entire month passed away. She wouldn't allow that to happen. People started consoling her. See, it is not very good to be, so attached. The child is dead. Now it should be cremated. She said, "No, my baby." To that extent that the body started stinking. It's a natural process. People started getting affected with that. Someone said, "Do one thing, Ma, oh mother, do one thing. There is this great person called Buddha. We've heard that he can give life. Please go to him and ask him for something." She rushes there and she reaches to the feet of Buddha. As soon as Buddha sees her, he understands the situation. And she says, "Oh Buddha, I have heard that you can give life. Please give life back to my child, my only child, my beloved." Buddha says, "Okay, Ma, let's do one thing. I can do what you're saying, but could you do one small thing for me?" He said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, I could. What is it you want?" He said, "Go to the houses of the village and get me few grains of rye." Rajshree, what is rye in English? Mustard. Thank you. Mustard. This is a story of central India where mustard is easily available. Everywhere we grow mustard. Mustard is the yellow flowers, beautiful flowers. She says, "I will just get it. Hold on." He said, "Wait a moment, but kindly get the mustard seeds from that household, from that family in which nobody has ever died, who has not seen death, or some family member is not." She said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And she rushed out. From house to house she went on asking, "Give me some mustard." And immediately people would give. But after getting that mustard, she would say, "But I hope nobody has died in your family." In the first house, when she said, the man said, "No, actually just last month my father has passed away." She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. How did it happen?" He said, "Well, he had lived a very nice life, a long life, a fulfilling life, and life is like that, it ends." She said, "Yeah, very good, but thank you, I can't take yours." Next house, next house. To the third house she goes, there she's taking, and the person says, "Oh, but just 7 days ago, my wife passed away." "Oh, wife passed away." "Yeah, she was in her youth. She was so strong, beautiful, everything." What happened?" "We don't know. Suddenly, she just passed away. It is so sad." She felt a deeper pain inside. Then she gave the mustard back and she went to the next house. The next house, somebody's child had died. The next house, somebody's grandfather had died. The next house. A whole week went away. Day and night she tried to find a house where nobody had died. Exhausted and also with a sense of understanding, she returned to Buddha. This time when she returned to Buddha, she said, "Oh Buddha, please give life, not to my child, but to me." She became the first woman disciple of Gautama Buddha. She was called Gautami. Gautam Buddha got this knowledge of self also like this, only like this lady. This lady, when she went to house, her own attachment to the child with the pain that she had became lesser by understanding. And then she started using her Viveka. Oh, life will start and end. As we don't know how the life starts, we cannot know how the life ends, but it will end. This discrimination came to her, this Viveka came to her. In the same way, Gautam Buddha, when he grew up, he was going along on the path and he saw a very sick man for the first time in his life. He asked his minister, "Oh minister, what is this? What has happened to this man?" The minister said, "Sire, he is unwell." "What do you mean he is unwell? What is sick?" He said, "Sir, sickness is something which all of us go through. It pains our body, it troubles us." "Oh, do you think even I can get this?" He said, "Of course, every human being can get this." After a few days, when he saw somebody so dilapidated and old, shivering and unable to even hold his body up. Gautam Buddha asked, "What has happened to him?" He said, "Sire, he has become old." Gautam Buddha said, "What do you mean old?" He said, "Just like you were born, you were little, now you have become grown up. Your father was also like this, and eventually your father, our king, is also going to become like that." He said, "My father, my king is going to become like this?" He said, "Yes, sir, not only him, even you will become, at time will come." Gautam thinks, what? And one day, Gautam actually saw a dead body being carried on the 4 shoulders by a few people and crying, "Ram Naam Satya Hai, Ram Naam Satya Hai." This is the chant that goes on in the Indian Hindu system when they take the dead body to the crematorium. He says, "What is this? Why are all of these people crying?" The minister said, "Sire, this is called death. As we take birth, someday we will die." Gautam Buddha saw suffering for the first time. He saw somebody old and dilapidated for the first time. He saw death for the first time. He left his father's kingdom and he went to find the truth. What is this truth? Why is this kind of suffering for humans? I want to know what is this. His Viveka took place. His discrimination took place. It cannot that I can just enjoy life while these things are happening in the world. I want to know. I'm sure most of us had heard this story before. But in what context this story has been told, I'll just say. Have you seen an ill person? Have we seen old people, dilapidated people? Have we never seen any person who is dead? We have. But what was that in Buddha, in Gautama, who became Buddha, who turned it to that level where he became Buddha? Why is that thing not happening to us? We have not seen it once, but we have seen it many a times. What is that difference in him and us? That is the Viveka to the extent of Tivrata. When Viveka is absolutely complete in your mind, that you want to know absolutely clearly what is right and what is wrong, when you start seeing the distinction, what is temporary and what is permanent, something else comes in your mind, which is called Vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion. Dispassion means something that you absolutely have no liking for, something which you do not want at all. This is Viragya, dispassion. This happens only when Viveka is in full measure. To have Viveka in full measure, you must have something called as Chitta Shuddhi. So what is the cause of Viragya? The cause of Viragya is Viveka. That means, what is the effect of Viveka? Viragya. They are interrelated. So when we say, oh, I know about Viveka, I have been doing that all my life, but please tell me what is permanence. I will tell you, you will hear, and next day we will all be all regularly the way we are. Why? Because Viveka has not come to that level where we have clearly understood what it means to be temporary, what it means to be impermanent. In the story of Gautam Buddha, there is something called as Viragya of 3 levels. In Shastra, you will hear it in future also from me, that there will always be spoken about 3 grades. The Tivra, Ati, absolutely, Madhyama, in between stage, and the Manda, the very low stage. In my understanding, we all are in the low stage of Viveka. Therefore, dispassion is not arising in us. We have little bit of dispassion. You know, when we have dispassion, I'll just take 1 more minute and then we'll stop. Then we'll go to the question and answers. You know, when we have dispassion, at the time when you're about to fall asleep, your mind automatically is dispassionate with everything, including where you're sleeping, how you're sleeping. It doesn't matter. Before that, you will be so, this bed in the holiday, it's very uncomfortable bed. I hope I was in my own bed, or I could get my own bed. All these things just go away the moment you're about to fall asleep. The moment you're about to fall asleep, you become absolutely vairagi. You leave you don't want anything but to fall asleep. That is called Tivra Vairagya. Well, we speak on Vairagya in the next sessions also, but I hope I have been able to give you an idea of what Viragya is. With that, let us open our question and answer session. And if there is anybody who wishes to ask something, you are most welcome. I have received some questions in text, which I can read later if there is no questions. But if there is question, I would like to take the questions in live.
In the beginning of the today's session, you said you started with the sentence, Viraj means desire to enjoy the fruit. What is ahead of that?
The full sentence. Okay. So, the desires to enjoy the fruits here and hereafter, to not have the desire to enjoy the fruits here and hereafter. What is hereafter? What is hereafter? In the system of Hindus, we don't have life as linear. What is the meaning of linear? Means you are taken birth once. After you live once, you die and that's the end. There is no more action to it. No, in Hinduism it is not like that. Because it is a circular system, we believe. We believe that any cause, any effect has to be with a cause. So when the effect takes place and it ends, it merges back to the cause. So the cycle is complete. So life, living, death, then again birth. So this cycle goes on. So in Hindus, we believe that there are so many actions that we do today, like for example, being very good to other people, like being, doing some paropkar. Paropkar means donations or something. We may not take the benefit of it today, but in the mind we have, maybe in my next life I will get the benefit because I'm doing good things in this life. Same way, if I'm doing bad things in my life this time, I will get the effects of it in the next life. This carried forward thing is there. It is not end. If suppose I have this understanding, whatever I do, it starts here and ends here, then there is no control over myself. I can do anything. Any good or any bad, it doesn't matter. Why? Because there is nothing after this. So therefore, there are some karmas, there are some actions that which you do, which we do, not for now, but for future. Don't we think, uncle, you are in shares also. We take some shares which are immediately going to give effect. Short term, morning to evening. There are some shares which we take, 3 months later this will give effect. Some very long term. 3 years, nahi, 30 years ke baad, this will be like millions and millions and millions. I will not enjoy, my next generation will enjoy. We think of it in this way, right? The same way, what you do good today, some of the results come immediately, some comes after some time, some may come after many, many lives. So hereafter means that.
Maybe one more thing.
Okay.
Maybe in the last session, can you explain the sentence? What you always do, you always did. What you always get, you always got.
Exactly. So this is absolutely the preparation for Viragya. Vairagya can only come when you change doing things that you have already been doing. Suppose if I have always been waking up at about 10 o'clock in the morning and I want to, see the sunrise. Suppose I wish to see the sunrise. But I keep waking up at 10 o'clock and say, sunrise. It will never happen. Why? For seeing the sun rising, you'll have to wake up before the sun. That means you'll have to change something that you have been doing for such a long time. So to achieve something different result, your input has to also be different. That is the sentence. And that is where Viragya comes. We have a question over here.
How do we practically in daily life start getting more vairagya? What do I do?
She is asking about how do we practically do something by which in our everyday life we get vairagya. Well, it's a slightly premature question because Viragya I have not yet explained completely. But since the query has come, let me give you a slight hint on this. We heard the story of that mother. Leave the mother alone. Even we would have cried so much. Crying is okay. But holding on to something which you know is temporary, isn't that foolishness? That is what we have to understand. That in our life, for example, I'm saying a very, very close thing for my heart. It's very close to my heart. This temple, small little temple, it is probably about 100 years old. It has not come from my family, but it has come from my wife's family. Means not from her mother, but from her mother's grandmother. She had made a couple of these things, hand carved, and given it to all the daughters, and then it went ahead. So I am very, very attached to it. When I came from India, I left most of the things, but I did get this temple with me. Why? Because I'm so attached to it. Without it, I cannot live. No, I can live. But why did I get it here? So that the next generation, means my daughter can also have that, so that this feeling of niceness of connect to your ancestors continues. It does not mean that I am so attached to it that for whatever reason, if this table catches fire, which is of wood, and if that burns away, my life will end. Or I will feel so bad. Oh, it's gone now, it will never come back. No, I will accept it. It was wood. Wood has fire within itself. Someday it had to burn, it went away now. You have to practice what you have learned. You should eat food. Food is necessary. But don't go crazy over food. Don't think of food all the time. Don't dream of food. In the same sense, nothing can move in this world without wealth. We need wealth. But don't go crazy behind wealth. That if wealth is the only thing left in the world. Don't go crazy behind politics. Only politics is everything. No. Don't go crazy behind your thought. Only my thought is the only thought in the world. No, there are many kind of thoughts. What I mean to say is, Viragya means the ability to let go. Not because it will not hurt you. It might hurt you. But because of the Viveka, because of the understanding, because you can distinguish between, okay, this is temporary. So it can go, no problem. Oh no, this was given to me by my childhood, my mother gave me this, such a chewy, nice little, I will have it in my side. No. If it goes, no problem. If it is there, it doesn't matter. That is Viragya in everyday life.
Even pain is temporary.
We'll take the other questions from others also. Aditi, please, if you have something which you wanted to ask.
So I had mentioned it on WhatsApp with videos.
But for the benefit of all, you can ask me. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to see you. I'm so happy that you're well again.
Yes, I'm doing better. Thank you, sir. So the question that I posed to sir was, we only perceive ourselves as having limited time, and thus, at least my understanding was that we can say we are impermanent. How can then we hope to understand what is permanent?
Excellent.
If we ourselves are impermanent.
Very valid question, because this is how I like questions, because it is related to what we have studied. This shows that the person is actually actively thinking on those aspects which we have studied. There is a thought. Okay, right now what I am doing, this is my spiritual life. After I close this computer, I will get into my family. That is my family life. Up till last year, you all know, I was in India and I had a professional life also. Oh, so I live 3 lives. Spiritual life, personal life, professional life. We all think like that, isn't it? This is exactly how it doesn't work in the system of Hindus. In Vedanta, there is no compartmentalizing your life. In the same way, in Vedanta, there is no compartmentalizing what is temporary and what is permanent. Meaning that permanent works in and through all this impermanent. Think well, jog your memory. What we had said, what Shastra said, this entire impermanent world is upon the substratum of that permanent. Means if that permanent is not in and through everything else is inert. Let me put these 2 words very clearly. What is the meaning of inert? Look at this. This is inert. It cannot do anything on its own. This is inert. This cannot do anything on its own. But what, sir? You're talking to me, your hands are moving. How can you be inert? What I mean is this body is inert. Only because that permanent factor is going through this impermanent, inert thing is started acting. Therefore, it is not 2 separate things, Aditi. You just need a fraction, not even a fraction of a second to understand what permanency is. But You have to be ready. Your mind has to be prepared. You should have these wealth. Which wealth? The inner wealth. What we are going to talk, what we are talking about. Viveka, Vairagya. And the sixth wealth that we are going to start talking from the next week. These are the things that you should have with you so that you clearly see it. So it's not something else from somewhere else that is going to come to you. It is going to be coming from inside only, from you. Go back to the story of that old lady searching the key which was lost somewhere else. She was finding it somewhere else. She was searching it. It is all one. Temporary and permanent is one. But we at this moment can only experience the temporary. Therefore, we have an idea of time. Therefore, we think, oh, we have less time. And because permanent is supposed to be so large and so big, how will we ever complete it? But it is not how Vedanta is asking you to look at it. This is why it is very important that I get your minds to be restructured to think the way Vedanta wishes you to think, so that you can see the point of view. That's why all this elaborate study and everything is going on. Our Varna, it was like any person like Gautam Buddha. It happened instantly. And he is not just one example. There are so many examples like that. The photo that you were seeing in the beginning of the Adi Shankaracharya. At a childhood stage, he left house. He went only for this study. He only wanted permanent, nothing else. They already had Viveka, Vairagya in them to the fullest measure. And this is the beauty of Shastra. First, it points out that you should have this. Obviously, if we would have had it, we would have already been like Gautam Buddha or Adi Shankaracharya or Gurudev or XYZ. But since we don't have it, Shastra says, don't worry. Here, this is the list of things and this is how you have to do it. And slowly develop it. I hope, Aditi, you have some semblance of the question that you had some answers of that.
Yes, thank you.
I'm glad. Anyone else? Okay, in that case, then I'll ask Aditi to ask her second question. She had sent me 3 questions and I told her if others don't have questions, then I'll ask you to say.
I don't have a question. I just want to say something.
Please.
Which is, as you said, your whole this thing is to restructure our thinking.
Correct.
I think it's working a little bit for me. I'm thinking of from impermanence, the fact that there is so much of impermanence around us, in fact most of it. I'm getting a little bit of Vivek from that, and can see myself working towards Vairagya. It's very difficult, very long, but I can see myself working.
This is so
just wanted to see.
Thank you so much, Ma. This is the whole reason why we had this session. That if in our life, which we know so many things about, before we close our eyes for this life, we should also know something of that from which we have come to. We are the children of truth. None of us will agree to this, that we are the children of devil. We are the children of God. We are not here just by an accident. There is a cause. Because there is a definite cause, there is a reason that we are the effect. And if we are the effect, there must be some goal for our life. And that goal is what Vedanta is trying to tell us. Thank you, Ma. This is so nice you said to me this way. So if no one else has anything else, so we can wind up, or if Aditi wants to ask, you can ask, or we can take it in the next session. Whatever you feel. No pressure.
I'll ask, sir. I'll ask it right now.
Okay.
So my question was, while living in the middle of society, which glorifies success as the typical impermanent things around us, how do we break away from the pressures of the society that we live in and define what is true for our own selves?
Excellent. I'll just repeat the question for everyone to understand. Our dear Aditi, she's a young dynamic girl. With a question I can know this. That in this current world that we live in, what is glorified? Success. Nothing succeeds like success. These are big words that we have heard all our lives. Yes, it is true. But success, the highest success, what it first gets you? Name. It is called kirti. Second, it gets you wealth. Kanchana. It's called kanchana. And third, it gets you aisho aram, or what is called as luxuries in life. It is called kamini. It gets you these three things. Now, Aditi, if you could point out in these three, which is the permanent? Zero. So it is not for the world. Let the world be happy with what they have. You should be like Nachiketa. What did Nachiketa tell to Lord Yama, Lord of Death? That you keep all these riches to yourself. You keep all this world, kingdom of the world to yourself, and the hundreds of progeny which will take my name and I will never die because I will live through them, to yourself only. This was the indication given in that story. That your Viveka should be so strong that I want and want only the truth, mumukshutvam, and nothing else. Let the world think whatever, because the world is not listening to us, na Aditi. See, Aditi, you are sitting here on Saturday after being unwell, you've come back. You are wanting to do it. So you focus on yourself, leave the world alone. Don't try to change the world, change yourself. The moment you change yourself, you will see, Arey, there is no point in changing the world. Why? The moment I changed, everything changed. And it happens. Rajshree Amma has a question.
Yeah, one last thing I want to add. Does that mean one should not try for success or not do anything, not be ambitious? What is the distinguishing factor? Should we just all stop trying and just be a very average or very non-successful person?
Thank you, Raji. So she is saying, so with this thought, should we leave all the worldly things and stop being ambitious in the world and not do anything for succeeding or getting success? No, not at all. In fact, the contrary. Tell me one thing. What happened to Gautami in our story after she realized the perfect Viveka? What did she become? She became an adherent person to achieve something so much that she will not stop till she will achieve the greatness.
We should try to be our best, but not expect the results.
The point is, Rashi is saying we should try to do our best but not expect the result. Yes, but the point is, does studying Shastra or understanding these things make you a dull boy? It's an English thing, lots of work and no play makes somebody a dull boy. Does it make you a dull person? Vice versa. Arjuna was the greatest warrior, so called, the best of the best, and he had become dull. Why? He had got a depression in his mind. No, I should not do this. What did Krishna, his friend, the Lord, told him? He gave him the knowledge of Vedanta. And then what happened? He understood that his life has to be with action. There are two things. How much ever intelligent you may be, you may have scored the maximum CET scores, SAT scores, but all is in the brain only. If you don't translate it into action, will it help you? It will not. All the thoughts that you have will not be useful until and unless you become active. Shastra only tells you this: know the truth, and it doesn't tell you to become dull. It tells you act on it. So, knowing the truth and then acting in the world with that burning desire to achieve permanence, you will gain the highest point that you can gain in the world. For example, we all know Swami Vivekananda. Most of us know, the Germans may not know. Swami Vivekananda was not only a sannyasi, or you all may know, beg your pardon, I am just thinking in that way, but he was one of the greatest achievers of his time. I will give you another name. Our second president, president, not the Prime Minister, Dr. Radha Krishna. What achievement! Incredible achievement. 100% studied Vedanta. 100% studied Vedanta. So had they become useless? No, it is nothing like that. Knowing the knowledge and how to apply it is yours. There are two things. One is proficiency. We've heard this before in our previous 1 year talk. Proficiency means knowledge of something. You may be the greatest writer, greatest English literature person. But if you're not efficient in your writing, your proficiency is of no use. So first you should have proficiency, and then you should apply that proficiency into your work, make it efficient, and then efficiency comes. This is what Vedanta is about. It is not about not doing anything. In your life, whichever position you are in, if you are working for somebody, be the best worker. If you are running a own factory or a company, be the best CEO and the manager. Even if you're just doing the smallest of the thing, cooking in your house, make it sure that you cook it in such a way that every person says, I tell you, I was not hungry, but I just took one bite and I kindled my hunger and I ate more. Why? Because you give your best. That is Vedanta. Anyone else? Okay. So
I have also a question.
Oh.
We spoke about summer and the control of mind.
Yes.
And we spoke about a lot. And how can I learn non-attachment from thoughts?
We have learned summer of control mind. And how can we learn non-attachment from? I didn't get the last word.
From thoughts. Because non-attachment from things, but I think
thoughts.
At the end...
Got it.
Thoughts.
Now
Yes.
I get it, yeah. Thoughts.
Thoughts, because I think thoughts are also, what's in English?
Ask her to say in German.
You can say it in German. We have my German son-in-law. He can tell me what it means.
Yes, dass sie auch, that thoughts are also impermanent at the end.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes. Thoughts are also impermanent. So the first step you have already achieved. That you have realized this, that my thoughts are impermanent. You know, till last year you may have thought whatever I think has to be, some relevance to it. But now you will think the thoughts may just come and go. I must choose what thoughts I should hold on to. To have Vairagya from thoughts is to select and choose the most important thoughts and let go the rest. Giving you an example. They say that in a 24 hour in one day, at least one thought comes in such a way which is $1 million thought. I've heard this by many of my patrons. They are great businessmen, and so they say that. If you can pick out that one thought out of the millions of thoughts that come in our head we would be millionaires. I mean, we could become millionaires. What I mean to say is clear the clutter of thoughts. How to clear the clutter of thoughts is in Shastra called japa. This is a japa mala. It's a beads of 108, and what we do is we hold it in the hand and we repeat any one name. Because we've been speaking of Om, so let's say Om, 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 Om. But while doing so, there are two things happening. One, your finger is moving on every bead, so physically you are involved. And second, your mind is focused on what you're saying. So your mind is also involved. One, your body is involved. Two, your mind is involved. And between the mind and body is the third thing called speech. Your speech is also involved. This is called japa. Japa means repetition. You just repeat Om, 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 but with your complete attention, focus attention, with your hand moving exactly at the time when I'm saying Om, 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 Om. Within this 108 times that you do, you will realize how focused your mind has become. All unnecessary thoughts have gone away.
It's a methodology for disciplining your mind.
You're right, Rajshree. My wife is saying this is the methodology of getting your mind disciplined. Disciplined, under control, like you said. Sama. This is the method of Sama. One of the methods. So please try. If suppose you don't have this, you can do it on your finger also. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 of these are there, right? So 12 into how many times that you count that it becomes 108 by calculation? Anybody? How many times? 108. Come on, people, it is easy. 9 times, exactly. 9 times. Thank you, Denji. 9 times. Oh, sorry. Kaushang said that 9 times. So you have to just count it 9 times and that is done. I'm telling you, you will think, oh, this man is mad. Nothing in Vedanta or Hindus is just by chance. Everything is a reason for it. But I think we should stop here. It is almost 1 hour that we have engaged you all. However, I am not in a hurry. If anything else you need to ask, you are most welcome. If not, then we take a Madhya Viram. And as you see, when I didn't speak to you for 2-3 weeks, you had something to ask. The whole basis of our education is a samvad. Parekh uncle, first day I had spoken about this dialogue. The entire Upanishad, the Upanishadic knowledge of the Vedas, is of the scriptures, is a dialogue between the student and the taught and the teacher. If there is no dialogue, how can we, human beings who have this brain, who have this intelligence, will utilize it? Therefore, the entire study of the Vedas, scriptures, is a dialogue. Kindly join me in thanking Bhagwan, in thanking our Gurudev, and thanking our parents for giving us this opportunity of interacting. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Next Saturday we meet.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om.
Bye. Hari Om. Hari Om. Chitra ji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
uncertainty.